Mick and Sam, taking you to Jungle Land. Bengals pride, it fills the air. Every week we're always there. Touchdowns, tackles, all the plays. Bengals roaring every way. Stories, news, and game recaps. Jungle Juice, we bridge those gaps. Welcome to the Jungle Juice. Mick and Sam, let's break it loose. Cincinnati, hear our call. Bengals fans, unite us all.
Welcome into this week's edition of the Jungle Juice podcast. I'm Sam Gormley. He's Mick Nelson. Mick, how's it going?
Going all right. You kind of started a little abruptly there. We didn't let the song finish.
Oh, the song finished in my ears.
Wow. Didn't finish for me here.
Oh.
Anyways, I'm doing all right.
Do I need to play? Do I need to play the song again or something so you feel like you're ready or something? Is that what you're saying?
Nah, I think we're good. We're good.
I didn't know whether it just you're like once you learn how to ride a bike a certain way, you can't switch it up or something like that. I didn't know if that was kind of what you were saying, but yeah, no, it's good to be back here. And listen, we're close to actually talking about real football, and that's what I'm very excited about. Very excited about getting ready to get going to. But yeah, I mean, we had first preseason game for the Bengals last week. We have another preseason game coming up next week, so we're going to dive into those news headlines. Not a lot for us to get to on today's show because, I mean, I guess in the preseason, a non-newsy week is a good thing, at least in my eyes, because that means that nothing big is really happening.
Nothing bad's happened.
Exactly, because I think really for the most part in preseason, the only news is really for the most part kind of bad news. You know, it's rare that you get a Noah Fant signing to come in and bring you some good news or something along the lines of that. But we'll discuss a little bit of that and so on. We invite you to follow us on our social media channels: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, favorite podcasting platform. Give us a 5-star rating that way as well. But the news headlines to at least for us to hit for this week, the injuries. Some of these stem from what we're getting ready to talk to in the Eagles game, but some of them are not. Geno Stone was hurt after, I think it was 4 plays against the Eagles, and he is listed as week to week with some semblance of a lower body muscle injury. Presumably, you would think that would be a hamstring, a quad, or something along the lines of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that, you're really testing the safety depth, and I know in training camp practice this week, you've seen a lot of Dejon Anthony and even P.J. Jules in there.
P.J. Jules?
Tyson Anderson. Yes, P.J. Jules getting a mention on the pod. But that is at least opening up a little bit of a concern. I think we come back to depth at that position a little bit later on because I think that needs to be discussed. Jermaine Burton was healthy one day. The next day doesn't show up to practice. And immediately everyone's thinking,
oh no, here we go again.
And honestly, can you blame fans for saying that? Like, I don't know. You are your reputation. You are your reputation. And he then made a statement and was not very happy on Twitter and pretty much said, "Hey, I'm hurt. I don't appreciate that. You all talking about this, saying, I'm trying to do my best and all of this, blah, 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 blah." But it is a injury. Zach Taylor says he is day to day. But honestly, my biggest thing with this is, Jermaine, I mean, that's on you, brother. You've earned this reputation so far, and you have to do something to change it.
Yeah, that is very true. And on the other side of it here, honestly, I don't know. It'd be nice if, I guess, the fan base was a little more of a support system and was like, oh, he's really trying to do it, even though that's literally his job. His job is been to show up to practice on time and show up to meetings on time and not, create any bad press for himself or the team or whatever. And he didn't do that last year.
Pay his rent.
Pay his rent. Yeah. I mean, that's not really his job, but that's like
Being an
a
adult.
life. Yeah, it's a life task you have to do. And so here's the thing, we can't really coddle him. I'm not saying we should coddle him, but like, I don't know. At least it's not anything, at least it's nothing that we saw last year. At least the guy was just hurt. But
yeah, and it's a day-to-day injury too. But you can't blame the media for at least being like, we didn't see you get hurt, and now you're not there. Okay, like there's got to be a little something there because you are your reputation. I do want to just say too, Miguel Andujar, the newest Red, just hit a grand slam. Reds are now winning 8-0. They're going to take 2 out of 3 from the Phils. I like that.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful.
Orlando Brown Jr. missed practice today. Now, there hasn't been anything to come out about that, to whether this is a vet day, this is a actual injury or whatever. There is something there. Miles Murphy missed practice today. He, though, limped off after an injury yesterday. He apparently re-entered in training camp, but was clearly limited. So that's at least something for us to keep an eye on as this goes along over these next couple of days. Because, listen, your offensive line, left tackle, and edge, those are 2 positions the Bengals can't afford to be missing guys.
No.
But those are some of the injuries. Now, Zach Taylor today did invite the Reds to practice. I don't know if you saw this. I saw a video from Dan Horde. The only Red.
Did we get to see Ellie catching some routes? Did that
Ellie
happen today?
Video I saw. So who I saw, Nick Martinez, Scott Barlow, Brent Suter, Emilio Pagan, and Tony Santillan. So you had a lot of bullpen.
We just had the bullpen. Just the
pretty
bullpen
much
was there.
Brent Suter was probably the one that you would have guaranteed was going to be there, him being the Cincinnati guy and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Emilio Pagan, I know he was, a lot of people were commenting, he had a really cool, vintage Reds hat on. I don't know where he got it. I was like, ooh, I kind of like that, Emilio. But yeah, I think it's kind of cool that Zach Taylor reached out the olive branch, and I would have liked to have seen Ellie catching some balls from Joe Burrow. But at the same,
Ellie, I'd love to see Ellie just run a route. Just
maybe we put him out there for Peyton Thorne.
Yeah, he's got a strong enough arm to be a quarterback. That's for sure.
Yeah, I bet. I wonder how many times he's even thrown a football. Because considering that football probably in the DR is not very common. So I'd be interested to see how that would go. Okay, that's kind of your news, though. Like I said, not a lot for us to go to as far as the news headlines from the week. So let's just dive into what was last Thursday night. It's been a while. Bengals took on the Eagles. They lost. Everybody was mad at Zach Taylor because he didn't call timeouts to get the ball back with 20 seconds left. When I think everybody was kind of like, okay, I've seen enough. Do we really? I
think you need to just keep we need to let this streak continue. I want to be the anti-Ravens of preseason.
Yeah, because the Bengals have lost 74 straight preseason games. Is that what the actual?
They haven't won a preseason game since 2022. They are since the rant because that was week 3. So we have had
7 straight.
Well, they've had a tie.
Oh, okay,
in there somewhere.
I'm counting that as 7. I mean, a tie in the. I guess
it's 10 straight because it's. Well, no, I can't do math. It is 7 straight. You're right. They
haven't won in 7 games. We'll just put it that way.
They have not. No.
But yeah, and I agree with what Tommy says here. And I know you're not making this point, Mick, of saying that it matters, but it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, and that's where. I love the fourth quarter of preseason games because I just want it to get as absurd as possible because for the most part, none of the guys playing actually matter, in the fourth quarter as far as to the bank. Let's put it this way. If these guys that are playing in the fourth quarter are playing meaningful snaps for either the Bengals or the Eagles this year, something has gone wrong for that team.
Yeah.
I mean, Jamoy Mays, if he's catching balls from Joe Burrow this year, something has gone bad. If Desmond Ridder is the quarterback, things have gone horrible. Just like if
things have not gone good.
If DTR is starting at quarterback for the Eagles, they're either undefeated and 20 games ahead, or things have gone very, very, very bad. But let's talk about some things that we liked. from this and some positives, because I think there were some positives from the Bengals in that game, and I think you got to start with the first 2 drives for the offense.
I mean, I think the offensive unit as a whole, the ones looked really, really, really good. Albeit they were going up against second stringers for the most part for the Eagles, but those are the best coached second stringers on the defensive side of the football in the NFL. I mean, it's still a Vic Fangio coach scheme. Burrow came out, was on fire, was 9 of 10. His only incompletion was it was kind of on Burrow, kind of on T. T had some hands on it, but the ball was behind.
Yeah, it was not a great throw.
It was like one of those classic college football 26 passes where the guy gets drilled, from the back or whatever, and he doesn't hold on to the ball. So yeah, I mean,
you never experienced that though, do you?
I haven't recently. They've toned down the glitch a little bit. But anyways, yeah, Burrow looked really good. 123 yards, 2 touchdowns, 86.4 passer grade. Looked crisp. Jamar already looks like he's in mid-season form, which is he looked pretty incredible in 2 drives of action. 77 yards, 4 receptions, had a touchdown, had a really nice toe drag swag catch.
That was filthy.
Had a classic catch and run, 40-yard touchdown, or I think it was around 40 yards. Yes. So, I mean, Jamar looked really good. Chase Brown didn't grade incredibly. He graded solid. It was like a 76 rushing grade. He wasn't bad, but he looks so much more comfortable as the lead back of the offense. So that was just something I wanted to note as well.
He was one of the people that I had to mention, because I heard somebody say earlier this week, and I should have written it down as to who it was. It might have been Dan Pitcher that said, I would be looking at drafting Chase Brown really high if I was on his fantasy team, if I was drafting fantasy. And I probably should be saying this considering that we are in a fantasy league together, and
we're
Riley
in
watching
2
us in
fantasy leagues together.
We are. I mean, listen, Chase Brown is going to be one of those running backs that's probably taken in the 2nd or the 3rd round that is going to be a steal. And it's weird to call someone a steal that you get in the 2nd or the 3rd round, but I just feel like he is going to have elite running back potential.
Yeah, I think he's going to have the production. I mean, one thing
you saw it last year.
You saw it last year, and then if you just look at the depth chart, there's nobody behind Chase Brown that's going to be stealing carries from him right now. Right now, I mean, it's really Samaje Perine. They might have him in a little bit on 3rd downs. I think Taj Brooks is a ways away from getting meaningful snaps in regular season games, and we'll touch on him here in a second. But yeah, I was Chase Brown is a very highly valued fantasy asset, I think, this year.
For the offensive line, and we're going to come back to the offensive line here in a few minutes and talk about the bad of it. But to me, the biggest takeaway from the offensive line was Dylan Fairchild. I mean, I don't know that you could have expected much more. Now, like you mentioned, was he going up against the Eagles once? No, he was not. But he performed the way you're supposed to perform against 2s. And that you need to mention that. It is important that he did his job, and I think he graded pretty much perfectly considering what he did.
Yeah, I mean, I think 4/5 of that offensive line, those starters played fairly well during that game. Highest graded offensive lineman was OBJ, had an 82.9 grade. None of those 4 gave up any pressures, I believe. So OBJ, Dylan Fairchild, Ted Karras, and Marius Mims, none of them gave up any pressures, which is good. There is 1/5 of that starting offensive line that is really making me miss Alex Kappa already, which is
oh boy.
It's a really hard feat to accomplish. You might have a 3-way battle for that starting spot, because Cordell Volson didn't look too bad during the game either. I mean, to be fair, it was against 3rd stringers, but yeah, I mean.
And maybe there's other options as well. We'll talk about that here in a few minutes. I think we got to mention a couple of the weapons, too, that aren't Chase Higgins, and so on. Tanner Hudson. Listen, he deserves to be mentioned as having a really good game.
He's playing for his job.
And listen, he might have solidified his job. I know Paul Dehner made a point saying that as soon as Noah Fant was signed, apparently Tanner Hudson has just looked like a different tight end in camp. Clearly, he realized his back is against the wall right now, and he does it. But here, are you ready for your Bengals trivia question of the day, Mick?
What is it?
Tanner Hudson became the second player since 2015 to have 2 touchdowns in a preseason game. Who is the other one?
Jermaine Burton?
No, it is not. It is not. You're going to have to go back a little bit of ways. I don't know the exact year, but you probably are in the Marvin. In fact, you are in the Marvin Lewis years.
Is this guy like a practice squad guy?
No, he was on the active roster for probably 3 years.
Cody Core.
No. Damn. No, that's a good pull. You're obviously the right position group. How about you go to Wisconsin maybe?
Oh, Alec, what's his name?
Erickson. Alex Erickson.
Alex Erickson.
So there you go. We're going to give an Alex Erickson shout out on this podcast. So Tanner Hudson was the second player since 2015 to have 2 touchdowns in the preseason game, joining Alex Erickson. That is good. That would be a fun Jungle Juice Joust question. Is name players to score 2 touchdowns in a preseason game, because you'd have to have some pulls on there. Some pulls. Hey, Lisa, happy late birthday, too. I know you celebrated a birthday.
Lisa.
Hopefully it went really well last week. But I think Tanner Hudson showed some things, and he's against the wall, and he performed as well as you could hope.
Yeah. I mean, the 2 touchdowns are really nice. A really nice full body extension touchdown pass from Joe Burrow to Tanner Hudson to start off the game on that first drive. But yeah, I mean, I think he probably had more receiving snaps than anybody else on the team. He did. Next closest was Charlie Jones with 16. Tanner Hudson had 22. Yeah, definitely got a lot of work in during the game. I liked what I saw out of him. Is this going to change whether he's going to be on the team or not? I don't think either of us really know, especially given the signing of Noah Fant. But he had a really good game, and part of me wonders if maybe they're looking to maybe get a trade out of him. You know, are they trying to get some snaps out of him during preseason here? Maybe they'll get an asset in return for anybody that's tight end needy. But anyways, it was a good game.
You mentioned Charlie Jones, and I thought he looked pretty good. But the biggest standout for me with Charlie Jones is how often Joe Burrow was looking his way.
Yeah.
Because I think, like, and I could be completely making this up, I think he might have had the first pass completion of Burrow. Or it was one of the first couple, and I remember being like, Charlie Jones? What? And that means something, because we know Joe Burrow, trust is a huge thing with him, and I know it's preseason, so the trust factor might not be as big as if it was, week 18 against the Browns. But I think it means something. I think Charlie Jones, we've never really seen him on the offense because he's been hurt or he's been behind players. I think you saw maybe some good things. That maybe this could be a breakout season for one Chucky. What do they call him? Chuck Sizzle.
Chuck
Sizzle. Yeah. Chuck Sizzle.
Yeah. I mean, I like the way that Charlie played. 3 receptions on 6 targets, 41 yards. One of those incompletions, he was clearly interfered on.
Yeah, that was a horrible no call.
It was a horrible call. And I love that the Eagles announcer, because when I was watching the condensed version of the game, they gave me the Eagles broadcast, and their color guy was trying to defend an obvious pass interference from Eli Ricks there. But yeah, I mean, I think Charlie played really well, had 2 contested catches on the day, was primarily playing outside, which I thought maybe we'd see him a little more in the slot. I thought that's kind of what his natural receiving position was, but they had him out wide for 82% of snaps, 18% were in the slot, 2 contested catches on the day, which that was pretty good. Yeah, I was happy with Charlie Jones.
Yeah, I think you saw some good things. Defensively, I don't think it was all as bad as people are making it out to be. So I think maybe we take the defense and come back to it in a couple of minutes, and you want to hit some other negatives before that? Or is there any specific person that you really want to mention on the
I'll mention a specific person on the offense real quick.
Okay.
Which already
And
Riley
Riley
did.
Riley's asking a question too right now. They carried 4 tight ends last season, right? No, they carried 5 last year
They
on the
carried
active
5
roster.
last year.
I think we both agree it'll be 4 this year, though, right?
Yeah.
And I think Gesicki, Fant, Sample are locks, and I think you're seeing Hudson and McLaughlin battle for that last spot. And really, Tanner McLaughlin has done nothing.
No.
Which
No. He barely
sucks
got really any work in during this game, I don't think.
Which sucks because we both were very high on him coming out. We both thought that was a pretty solid 6th round draft pick, but he's been complete non-factor. Who's the guy you wanted to mention?
Oh, bad?
Okay, yeah, you can go with that.
The 1/5 of the defense, or the 1/5 of the offensive line.
Okay.
Should we go ahead and
let's come back to the offense? Let's come back to the offensive line.
Yeah, we
let's
did
come
talk
back
about
to the
his
offensive
negative
line.
headline today, or there.
Let's come back to the offensive line
here.
Let's come back to the offensive line here in a few minutes because I think there's 2 big stories for us to talk about, and that's the offensive line and the defense. So let's hit a couple of the other things really quick because I think as far as not liking, there were a lot of penalties, really on both sides. It was very sloppy, including one roughing the snapper, which I don't know that I'd ever seen called before. Had you?
Not that I can recall.
McKinley Jackson got called for that. I found that very interesting. A lot of procedural penalties. And I mean, part of it is like, okay, these guys getting called for penalties. How much does it matter since they're not going to be on the roster? But then you had some that were called for some penalties. But let's go backup quarterbacks. Both weren't great. I know Riley's not going to be happy.
One was particularly bad. The other one was
not great.
Not great, but not terrible. It wasn't bad. It was an okay performance from Dez.
Yeah, Jake Browning was not good. Like it was bad for Jake Browning. Like, and he graded. Like it's always good when the eye test and the grades match up, and they did there because it was not a good performance from Jake Browning.
Yeah, if we didn't have some regular season action out of Jake Browning in 2023, this might have been the type of performance that made you think, is Jake Browning going to be on this team? It was pretty bad. 14 of 6 completed attempts. It's a 43% completion rate, 62 yards, had an interception, had another turnover-worthy play. On top of that wasn't a turnover.
Yeah, it was dropped, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was the dropped interception by Jahad Campbell.
Yep.
He did get pressured quite a bit. He did have 4 pressures on him during the game. Did get sacked once.
He did.
26.5 passer rating.
That's not great.
It's not very good.
It's not quite Andy Dalton against. It's not quite Andy
Dalton. Do worse?
I guess it's not quite. What was it? Andy Dalton against the Texans? Was that who it was? When Dalton had the 3 passer rating, or was it the Browns, or who?
No,
was
it was the Browns. It was the Browns Thursday night game.
Yeah, I knew it was Thursday night game. Yeah, where he had, what was it, a 3 passer rating or something just absurd.
It was the worst. It might have been the worst quarterback game I've ever seen, and this is including Ryan Finley games.
Yes,
which is that I've ever seen by a starter in a Bengals game at quarterback. But yeah,
Desmond Ridder though. Desmond Ridder. It's not like he was good. And we got to take off our, some of us have UC hats on. We got to take that off and look at it. I mean, his completion percentage wasn't great, and the one throw that was good was over the middle. He underthrew Mays, the receiver. If he hits him in stride, that's a 90-yard touchdown or 80-plus yard touchdown. It didn't look great, and I think that probably has to make Jake Browning feel a little bit better. T. Brookie asks, is Browning not getting any reps? He looks like he's not played for a year. He is getting reps, but I don't know. Like Tommy said, though, he isn't usually great in the preseason. So, I don't know.
No, and Tommy also brings up a good point. I mean, Jake Browning was under pressure quite a bit. I mean, he was pressured on 25% of his dropbacks. So I mean, that definitely had to come in play. And also, he's not playing, during the regular season of 2023, he had guys like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins out there on the football field. Here he's throwing to I mean, Charlie Jones, Tanner Hudson, which both of them had decent games. Who else? Jamoy Mays, was he on the field with Jake at all? Was that
I don't think so.
or
I
was
think
that
he
all
might have come in
Dez?
with that might have come in with Desmond Ridder. And if he was, it wasn't enough. Mitchell Tinsley would have been one of the guys he was throwing to,
Okay.
who, weirdly enough, and worth noting, Mitchell Tinsley was getting snaps with the ones earlier this week.
Yeah, that's crazy. What? Why? What? How? Your WKU guy over here?
Wave the red towel. Wave the red towel. Listen, I've got my I don't know if he would go on my sign that's over my shoulder there because he technically wasn't drafted out of WKU because he was a transfer portal guy. But hey, I'll take it. Okay.
Yeah. I was gonna say with Dez real quick. I mean, it wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. He did have a big time throw. It didn't have any turnover worthy plays. I did like that he pushed the ball down the field a little more than Browning did. And also 2 of those incompletions were drops by wide receivers.
Yeah, Isaiah Williams had one, and my boy Cole Burgess had one.
Your boy out of SUNY Cortland.
Yeah, Cole Burgess. Yeah, I felt like he was going to be a preseason darling, and he's never had the chance. We're just gonna say that he's never had the chance. Never had the chance. Okay, let's go into the 2 big things that we have to talk about, and that's the defense and the offensive line. Where do you want to go first?
Let's go with the offensive line first.
Okay,
stick with the offense.
So you want to start talking about your boy Lucas Patrick?
Yeah, wasn't a good performance by him. Let's see. He had 16 total snaps. Did only gave up 1 pressure, which isn't that's doable, but still had a 37.1 pass block grade, so he was giving up pass rush wins pretty often during the game. Also was the subject of some bad storylines today involving a fight between the team that broke out when Shamar Stewart beat him on a pressure, I guess, and just unfortunate circumstances that led him him colliding with Burrow.
Yep. And you
can't have that.
No, and that's on. I mean, I know Ted Karras said, it's on him. Like, he needs to be smarter than that, but it's also on us because we need to not let him come within 100 yards. But then as he made the point, and listen, Shamar Stewart needs to be smarter than this. If something happens to that man, we're,
Ted Karras said it best. That's our hopes and dreams.
Yep. And it's not just
everybody's
theirs.
hopes and dreams.
It's all of ours. It's all of ours. Because if Joe Burrow gets hurt, this season is going to suck. There's just no other way to put it. Because he is the only... Jamar Chase can only do so much. He can only do so much. T. Brookie asks, how can he give up 1 pressure and have a 37 blocking score? The math
pass
does
rush
not work.
wins, T. Brookie. Pass rush wins don't always result in pressures. We don't have a pass rush or pass block win rate stat from PFF, but I think the grading would lead you to conclude that.
The other offensive lineman that struggled in that game, Jalen Rivers, he's been a guy that we thought would be a potential to be the swing tackle, and they put him out there at right tackle, and it did not go well. It did not go well at all for him. You have the numbers in front of you. I didn't end up writing it down. Do you have it right there in front of you? Or
so it said that he was playing left tackle, at least on the PFF site here. But 54.3 pass block grade, gave up 1 pressure on 15 pass block snaps. So the pressure rate wasn't bad, but the grading was bad. I don't know if I noticed anything from the eye test here. Did you notice anything that
it's so bad that this is what it means to me is that in practice this week he has immediately shifted inside to guard.
Okay.
And I think that to me says something.
That's I think we're gonna have a little competition on our hands for that spot there, for that right guard spot.
Yes, what that means, I don't know, but he did play guard at Miami a little bit, if my memory is right with that. Did the defender fall down? He asks. Riley asks, did Matt Lee and McLaughlin rotate at right guard? I think they're both coming back from their injuries, so I don't think either one did. I know McLaughlin was taking backup center snaps today. Now, what's that mean for Matt Lee? Is he shifted out to guard? I didn't see anything about that. I'd like to see one of those two get an opportunity to at least show what they can do at a guard position.
You don't think Andrew Rame's going to get the job?
I mean, maybe. Or what
No,
about the guy?
He graded particularly horrible as well.
Caleb Etienne, is that the guy from BYU, or what's his name?
Caleb Etienne.
He's a tech. Caleb Etienne. I just wanted to give him a shout out too. He feels like it. Okay. For the offensive line, though, listen, we have to talk about it. Is the depth is a question. I mean, let's say something happens to one of your tackles. Cody Ford, like we saw that.
Who also didn't have a good game.
He did not. He did not.
Like honestly, the Lucas Patrick versus Cody Ford starting spot for the right guard starting spot is it's been a nightmare. At least one preseason game into training camp here. It must have, and apparently it's been a nightmare enough that maybe they're going to look at Jalen Rivers taking that spot. I'm surprised they're not even trying to transition Cordell Volson to that spot, just considering that he has the reps. And although he hasn't been particularly good when he's been starting, when he started for the past 3 years, he hasn't been so horrible that, you couldn't throw him out there, I guess.
Yeah, he's not as bad as Alex Capel was last year.
No.
Which I don't know that that's necessarily the baseline that we want to do. I mean, we'd like to have great guard play. But, I mean, listen, you see a lot of fans talking about this. And listen, it begs the question of, is there somebody outside the building that can help? And obviously the two names everyone drops in. There was a third, but Will Hernandez, I think, was re-signed with the Cardinals, if my memory is right. So you wipe him off. He was a guy that I had wanted them to take a look at in free agency. But you've got Dalton Reisner. Last season, graded a 68.1, but did have a 76.1 pass blocking grade. In the Bengals offense, 76.1 pass blocking as a guard? Yeah, we'll take that. We'll take 68.1 as well. And then Brandon Sheriff, 64.7 overall blocking grade last year and a 74.5 pass blocking grade. Now, there have been some things about Sheriff actually retiring. I think there was an article that had him referred to him as a retired player. I don't know that that's been official, but Dalton Reisner is a guy out there that, listen, the Bengals have the money, and I think he can help them.
Yeah, I think that they can. And now there might be a question with Dalton Reisner's health. Apparently, he sustained a back injury last year with Minnesota, and maybe that's why teams have been reluctant in signing him. I don't think I've heard of him even having a visit anywhere yet, which is something. But yeah, I mean, honestly, you got to start looking at options because I don't think either of us feel comfortable with Lucas Patrick or Cody Ford taking over this spot here.
Or Jalen Rivers.
Yeah.
I mean, in all seriousness, I saw Tommy make the comment about Matt Lee. I mean, we both love Matt Lee, but here's the thing with Matt Lee. Every single snap he took in college, and he took a ton of them, were all at center. Now, how different is center to guard? I mean, it's not nothing. And especially when he doesn't have really any experience at that at all. Do you really want a guy who's played guard for 3 weeks to be out there playing next to, Amarius Mims and Ted Karras, protecting the guy that your season relies on? But at the same time, it's not like what you got now is really working.
Yeah, and then, another wild card possibility is that if things are just so bad and you can't find a good right guard, do you put Matt Lee in at center and you move Ted Karras over to right guard where he has a little bit of experience?
That's probably break glass in case of emergency.
Probably. But we know that, Matt Lee played very well at Miami at the center position. But he also is a 7th round draft pick, right? Like we can't put very many chips at all into that basket.
And McLaughlin, if you're wanting the Ohio State guy, he's coming off of a severe injury, the Achilles. It is something, that needs it. And that's where I'm hoping that in the Commanders game that we're going to see some looks at some different options in there at right guard. Whether it's Matt Lee, whether it's Jalen Rivers, whether it's somebody, you're going to need something in there to make fans feel a little bit better moving forward. Other than that, though, as guys, I don't really know that there's anybody else for us to mention as far as it comes to the offensive line, right?
No, Devin Cochran had a pretty decent game. If we're talking about offensive line depth, I might feel actually kind of comfortable with him being a backup tackle. You know, we saw some reps from him towards the end of last year, and although he didn't play particularly well, he wasn't. I've seen worse tackle play in the Zach Taylor era out of starters. You know, we've seen Isaiah Prince and Akeem Adeniji play, and I think Devin Cochran probably played better than both
What's
of those
Jackson
guys.
Carman doing right now? Is he doing anything? Is he around? Is he still in the NFL?
Good question. He's got.
Now I'm genuinely curious if he is. Yeah, he's still with the Dolphins. How about that?
Okay.
Good for him. Not really, but I think the waiver wire is going to be a huge thing too, because I think you're going to have to see maybe them take that, but then at the same time, how much faith are you going to have in getting a guy off the waiver wire? Because I mean, you look at it. Who's a guard that they got off the waiver wire a couple of years ago was Max Sharping. Like that's probably as good as you're going to get.
They did get Quentin Spain off of the.
I guess I'm talking waiver wire at the end of training camp before the start of the season, because wasn't Quentin Spain like in the middle of the season? If I'm
he was a
right?
mid-year acquisition.
It's just they're going to need something, because right now what's working is not working. The defense. You know, I might have a different take on this, because I don't think it was as completely awful as some people were making it out to be. Was it great? No. And I'm not trying to defend that. But I guess what I'm saying when it comes to this is, for one, literally they had no secondary pieces playing. You know, you had Jordan Battle. I mean, Geno Stone played 4 snaps. So really, Geno Stone didn't play. You didn't have CTB. You didn't have Dax Hill. So you had Josh Newton in there, and you had DJ Turner. So as far as your secondary, you really didn't have any of your starters except for Battle, and then you could probably put DJ Turner in there.
Yeah, and Josh Newton, I mean, the one reception he gave up to Johnny Wilson in that first half
was a hell of a catch.
There's nothing Josh Newton couldn't have done. He was as well positioned as he could have been on Johnny Wilson, and the only difference is that Johnny Wilson had 9 inches on him. You know,
Johnny Wilson is a freak of nature as far as size-wise. I think we talked about him in the draft when we were doing some draft preview shows. But then you look at the defensive line, and I mean, listen, if there was anybody that probably loved that performance more than anybody, it was Mr. Trey Hendrickson. He was probably like, yep, look at that. Is that what you want?
Yeah, we're still waiting for a deal here.
You didn't have BJ Hill too. I mean, that's something to at least mention. But so I think when you throw all those pieces in, that you were missing a lot on that. So let's just say you were missing 5 starters on your defense. That's off the top of my head. I think that's about right. 5 or 6. So half of your starters on defense you were missing. And then also, you know, people were already saying, fire Al Golden, which I think was probably tongue-in-cheek. They're not actually saying that. But Al Golden is not showing any of his scheme right now. They're playing the most simple scheme probably you're going to find.
Yeah. I mean, so not only that, you're also, again, going up against one of the better coached, I mean, probably the best coached offensive line unit in the NFL, and one of the better coached offensive units as a whole in the NFL. Doesn't matter if they're playing their starters or the backups, right? And I think it turns out that Tanner McKee might actually be
he's look good.
A better backup quarterback than people are giving him credit for. But the problem I just had with the defensive performance is that I was kind of hoping to see like a glimmer of hope from some of these guys. You know,
Chris Jenkins, you saw some good things.
You did. Saw some decent things out of Chris Jenkins. Miles Murphy, I'm not sure why the grading wasn't great. He had a 62.7 pass rush grade, but he did have a 33% win rate. So we won. He only had 6 snaps in pass rush, but he won 2 of those against the tackle he was that was blocking him. But you know, Shamar Stewart really didn't show anything in the pass rush department. Did have a nice run stop.
I agree with what Tommy said, though. He looked better than the numbers showed. Shamar Stewart did. And I guess that a lot of that might have been, for me at least, is my expectations were very low.
Yeah, I don't think they were particularly high for me as well. But yeah, I mean, it still wasn't a good performance by any means. Like, it wasn't great. They got gashed in the run game. Will Shipley averaged 7 yards a carry. Now, 38 of those did come on one run.
That he had a hole that me and you could have run through.
Yeah, that thing was ginormous. It was
that's
a
saying
bad
something.
Communication between the defense there. But yeah, I was expecting to see maybe just a little more flash, maybe a little more. I was hoping to see a little more progression out of these guys than what we saw. I mean, maybe not necessarily Shamar Stewart because he hasn't been in camp for more than a couple weeks at this point. But maybe seeing that out of other high profile guys, and we saw that a little bit in some departments. It just wasn't a complete performance. One good performance I wanted to shout out is probably the best performance on the defense. Well, I guess there was two, but both came from the interior defensive line. McKinley Jackson had a really good game against the run. Wasn't great against in pass rush, but did have an 82 grade in run defense. All 4 of his tackles in the run game were considered run stops, which are considered run wins for the defense. So that was great to see out of him. And then Taven Bryan, who is a fringe roster candidate right now, played like he belongs on the roster. 4
He played
pass
like
rush
a former
wins.
first-round pick. Yeah,
he did 4 pass rush wins on 9 pass rush snaps. He had a sack in there. It was a good performance out of him.
the player that disappointed me the most in the defense, because he's been somebody that we've been hearing a lot of in the in training camp, of maybe flashing some signs, but he looked awful, and that was DJ Ivey.
Yeah.
That was a tough day at the office for Mr. DJ Ivey. He got picked on, he got abused, and it did not look good at all.
He did have one really nice pass breakup.
He did
in the game, though.
He did. But there was a lot that didn't look good, and that was late in the game, if my memory is right, or late in his day. Yeah, if my memory is right on that. But it is just, yeah, I don't know. It was different. Riley says HC3 Howard Cross looked decent too. He graded terribly.
Yeah, he did not grade well.
I think he was the second worst graded player on the defense. Is that right? If my memory, or did I just completely make that up?
He was the second worst pass rusher.
Okay, maybe that's what I was
let's
looking
see.
at.
He was overall the second worst graded.
Okay. Who was the only one worse?
I don't even know who this guy is. Shaquan Loyal.
Oh yeah, Bengals legend Shaquan Loyal the second. I think he's the second too. Don't forget that.
That is.
I think that's right. I think isn't he a linebacker?
He is a safety. At least that's what PFF has him.
Yeah, he's the guy from Rutgers, isn't he? Yeah, Rutgers. Yeah. Okay, Shaquan Loyal. Yeah. Can't believe you don't know who Shaquan Loyal is.
Shit, third worst graded guy was TJ Slayton. That's a starter.
Yeah, but he's still been a guy that has been talked about so often in training camp of really looking good. So I'm not really too worried about that. I think for me, the defense, do I feel better about it now than I did prior to when we were talking about this last week? No. Do I feel worse? No. But because it's the first preseason game, and I'm just really I'm not reading into any of it whatsoever. Now, if in 6 weeks, when we're 3 weeks into the season, if we're still having all of these conversations, then yeah, it'll be time to absolutely hit a big panic button. The safety depth, the injury to Geno Stone, week to week. Week to week is a very broad term. Now, is week to week on August 13th concern for missing the season opener? Probably not. But with those soft tissue injuries, you never really know. You never really know with that. So that leads us to the question of, is there somebody out there that can help that makes you feel better than putting a Tyson Anderson or a Dejon Anthony back there at safety or PJ Jules? So the two safeties that are out there that at least would make fans go, oh, okay. Obviously, the biggest one is Justin Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
He's 30. He's going to be 32 years old. He's knocking on the door there. Graded a 65.3 last year with the Falcons. That's not bad. That's fairly average of a safety play. And then the other guy who's younger, but is a free agent for a reason, is Marcus Williams. Last year, he was not good with the Ravens at all. Had a 42.9 grade. I don't know that. Is this anything to like, do either of those guys excite you more than a Dejon Anthony or Tyson Anderson?
Not necessarily. I mean, Justin Simmons would be nice, but also it's a week-to-week injury, and I don't think Tyson Anderson played bad enough to the point where we're like, we need to sign a guy off the street right now. It's not like Tyson Anderson had a bad game. He actually graded okay. 65 coverage grade, which isn't terrible. Only gave up 1 reception on 2 targets for 11 yards. Didn't have any PBUs or forced incompletions or anything like that, but he didn't play awful. Like, it wasn't a bad performance out of him. And you also have, like, and I hate to say this, you do have a guy with some free safety experience on the roster. If push came to shove and you needed to throw a guy out there, you could move Dax Hill back to free safety, which I don't know if either of us really want to see. And you could.
I think that's something happens to Tyson Anderson.
You think Tyson Anderson starts at free safety? They put Dax Hill in at nickel.
Yes,
they keep him in a nickel still.
Yeah. I think even there was an article I read earlier today from, I think it might have been Jeff Hobson from Bengals.com that had that Dax Hill is, or no, it's Charlie Goldsmith, I think, that was writing the article about Dax Hill getting his shot at nickel. It's the 3rd position change that he's had, but this is the one that is hopefully going to stay for Dax Hill in the nickel for this year. And I don't know that you really want to just continuously move Dax around.
No, you're not gonna better his progression by doing that.
No.
Another option you could have, if you like Dejon Anthony on the field more than you like having Tyson Anderson out there, you could move Jordan Battle to free safety and have Dejon at the strong safety spot, because Dejon, I don't think, plays like a free safety at all. He's more of a thumper. I think he would benefit more being in the box than he would be in center field. But that would be your other option if you'd rather have Dejon Anthony out there than Tyson Anderson.
Those are options out there. Okay. Anything else you want to mention from the Eagles game, or should we at least touch on some things that we want to see come Bengals Commanders on Monday Night Football? Joe Buck. We get Joe Buck and Troy Aikman.
We do.
Yeah. And Laurel Rutledge has joined their crew on the sideline. So I like that. I always like Laurel.
Evan McPherson made a 50-plus yard field goal. Can't forget about that. He's back.
Did you break down the long snapping battle between William Wagner and Cal Adamitis? Did you break it down, watch the film on?
Well, considering I'm not the one out of us two that has a Cal Adamitis jersey, I don't think that would.
I thought you were the long snapping expert. I'm just the one that has the jersey.
I have long snap before in a game.
You have.
But
you
no.
have. And why have the Bengals not called you? You were at the game where they put Mitchell Wilcox. Okay.
Yeah, they could have taken me down there.
I would have. Can you imagine? You lined up against TJ Watt. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? I guess not that TJ Watt would have been on the inside on a field goal, but still, what could have gone wrong? What could have gone wrong? But yeah, Evan McPherson looked good, and that's what we want to see. Rico looked solid.
Rico had a nice little coffin corner punt, which was nice.
T. Brookie says his conspiracy theory is Geno Stone is a double agent from the Ravens sent to keep us out of the playoffs.
Just like James Harrison was back in 2013, but he failed.
He did.
He failed. Failed in 2013.
He did. Commanders. On Monday Night Football. What are you wanting to see?
I want to see progression out of this pass rush. I want to see a little more juice out of these guys. I was a little disappointed from what we saw. I want to see Shamar Stewart. Hopefully Shamar Stewart has with another week under his belt, we start seeing a little more pass rush production out of him. Maybe getting a little more snap share from Miles Murphy. I don't know why he only had 6 snaps in this game. I guess, the two pass rush wins were enough for Al Golden to be like, okay, it's good. We don't need to see any more of them. But yeah, just I want to see a little more of a glimmer of hope. I want to see DJ Ivy have a little bit of a comeback performance here against the Commanders, because I think we both have him tabbed to make the roster right now. And we liked what we saw out of that Minnesota game back in 2023, or the Indianapolis game in 2023 before he got hurt. It still just looks a little rusty. So hopefully we see a little more of an improvement out of him. I don't know if I really want to see more Joe Burrow or Jamar Chase or T. Higgins. Like, if Joe wants them to go out there, then fine, so be it. But like, they already look pretty good. It looks pretty crisp in that game against the Eagles.
You took the words out of my mouth. Literally after that first drive, I was like, yeah, I think Joe and Jamar are on the same page. If I was Zach Taylor, I'd have said, Joe, we'll see you September, whatever it is. We'll see you in Cleveland.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't, and I know I went on this tangent last week. I don't want to see him play a half. I don't need to. If he wants to play 2 more drives, okay. But I don't know. I just don't know that he needs it. I guess if he says he does, he does. But what in that first 2 drives made you think, okay, he missed 1 throw to T. Higgins?
That he kind of didn't miss.
Yeah. I mean,
time.
And then made a filthy back shoulder throw to Jamar Chase that shows that his timing was perfect. I don't want to see him in game 3, Tommy. I don't want to see, like, I think he plays 1 or 2 series against the Commanders.
Game 3 is the real like shit heap of the preseason games, right? It's Indianapolis, the team that we usually play like every year. I think particularly in week 3. And that's gonna be the Peyton Thorne coming out game. It's gonna be Peyton Thorne and Desmond Ritter.
Yeah, you might not even see Jake Browning that day.
I doubt we even see Jake Browning on the field.
Or you see him in the first quarter. Yeah, I don't think anybody, like Joe, you just throw him up there and you say, "Hey, Joe, you can sit up in the suite with your parents." I don't even want him down on the field. I don't know. I completely agree with you. But with that, I want to see some better backup quarterback play.
Yeah.
I want to see Jake Browning look like a competent NFL quarterback. And if Des Ridder gets his opportunity again, I want to see him look a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because he didn't look great. Maybe we'll see some Peyton Thorne. Of course, Riley's going to talk up Des Ridder. But
he is.
He didn't impress me at all. I want to see some better things from him because, I mean, the hope is Desmond Ridder doesn't play a snap this season for the Bengals. Because obviously if he does, something bad has happened. But still, I want to see some better things of that. I also want to see some more of the secondary depth. I'm really interested. We just talked about that safety. I'm really interested how Tyson Anderson and Dejon Anthony play. I'm going to have a close eye on that.
Mm-hmm. Another aspect I kind of want to see is, can we find a solution at right guard? Can we find who is going to who's gonna plug in at that part in the offensive line and not make the complete offensive line look like garbage because you're so bad that you're bringing everybody else down with you. So yeah, I mean that's just something I want to see. I think there's really 3 guys in contention right now for that spot. So yeah,
I mean, Lucas Patrick will probably start. You would think he'll get that opportunity, and I'll be interested to see what kind of a leash is doing this. Riley says, you're talking like a guy who's never experienced the magic of rushing the field after your team won the conference championship and secured a playoff spot for the Power 4. Now, I have experienced rushing the field after my team won a conference championship. I have done that.
You and 10 other people.
No, there were like 10,000 of us. No, it wasn't a big crowd, but hey, did it twice. Tops won 2 championships while I was down there. Should have made the playoff too. If LSU, the game in 2015, if it wasn't pouring rain at LSU, the Tops would have beaten them. Tops would have beaten them, and we'd have gotten the, I guess that was pre-playoff, so it would have been that. But okay. I think, as far as the biggest thing too, no one gets hurt. That was the pro to the game, is Geno Stone was the one guy that came out with an injury, and even then it wasn't a very serious one. Even the Eagles, I don't think anybody really got hurt from them. You're just hoping that continues to be the case, especially anybody that really matters for this team. You do not need that happening. Ellis Who is right. Ellis Who is right, Tommy. Absolutely. Alrighty. You got any other parting takes here? Oh, wait. Do we have to make a prediction? Don't we?
Yeah, we gotta make a prediction here.
Okay.
Did we both?
It was a
predict the
relatively
win
normal
last week?
score last time.
It was
34-27.
it was
It
normal.
wasn't absurd, and that one kind of made me mad.
I'm expecting something a little more preseason-esque in this game.
I'll go Commanders 20, Bengals 16.
I'll go. Yeah, we're gonna have to get a win at some point. I'll go Bengals 22, Commanders
22.
22-16.
So we're both going 16. Okay. We're both going 16, but you have the Bengals winning. Who's going to be the best? Who is going to be the standout this Bengals game? I think, we mentioned a couple of the guys here that played really well. Who is going to be the guy we're going to be talking about on next week's show of making a name for himself?
Maybe not making a name for himself, but I think we could be due for another good Charlie Jones performance. I think that they looked his way quite a bit in the last preseason game. There was a decent enough to like out of him, so hopefully you can build on that momentum.
I'm gonna go for a fun one here. PJ Jules,
who played pretty well against the Eagles. We're not going to talk about him because he's not going to make the team.
He is.
I don't think he is.
He is going to after the game against the Commanders. Dejon Anthony's going to be on the chopping block because of PJ Jules. We have 2 ties being predicted in the comments. Riley says 24-24. And Tommy says 17-17. You both are disgusting. A tie is disgusting anyways, but a preseason tie is even worse. I feel like, can we in the preseason just do like a kickoff, like a field goal? Like start at the 30 and first kicker to miss or something is who loses. I feel like that would be better than a tie.
I think we should do it should be a 1v1 like Oklahoma style tackling drill between the mascots. Even though I don't know do the Commanders have a mascot? Do they have a?
I have no idea.
I think they do.
But I mean, it's not like
pig. It's Major Tuddy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, but it's not like Houday is going to make the trip to Washington for a preseason. I feel like it's got to be the 15th string offensive lineman. They have to be an undrafted free agent offensive lineman in the Oklahoma drill. It's got to be 2 guys that are not going to be in the NFL in a couple of weeks.
Pick the heaviest guy on your roster, and it's a 40-yard dash.
But do they have to Andre Smith it?
Yeah.
There we go. See, the NFL should hire us. We've got great minds. Great minds thinking on how to make the preseason more interesting, especially for that. It's like, the home run derby at the All-Star game was fantastic.
Yeah. It was great.
Preseason should have something similar. Maybe they should do a home run derby to set up a preseason.
Yeah, that's it. That get everybody excited for preseason.
You can't tell me Ted Karras wouldn't hit bombs.
I think he would. I mean, hell, we got OBJ, Orlando Brown Jr. and Amari Spins would definitely hit bombs.
Oh gosh, yeah. If they just get a control of it, we've seen Burrow hit bombs. He went over to batting practice a couple of years ago. But yeah, that'll wrap us up here for this week. Remember to follow us on social media channels, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, favorite podcasting platform. Give us a 5-star rating that way as well. We'll be back next week, same time, breaking down the Commanders game and previewing the Colts game, right?
I can't wait for the regular season.
I can't. But hey, we're getting closer and closer to where we can actually do some season preview shows, predicting the season and so on, which is what I think we're all actually looking forward to the most. Any parting thoughts?
No. If you're making the trip to Washington for the game, safe travels. Bring us home a win. Other than that, I've got nothing else.
It's something. It's something to make the trip for that, for a preseason game. But hey, whatever makes us happy, right? That's a true fan. True fan that makes
one of the last few preseason games at FedEx Field.
It is. But they've got 2 or 3 years left in that stadium.
Yeah, I think so.
I guess we'll never get an opportunity to go there. What a shame.
Oh, no. Not the worst stadium in the NFL. We have to go.
Maybe we should go on Monday. You free?
No.
Okay. Well, I tried. That'll wrap us up. We'll see you next week for next week's edition of the show. For Mick, I'm Sam. Houday, right?
Houday. Thanks for watching.